The warmest of greetings to you, and welcome to Happily Ever Teaching. This is the podcast to help you enthrall your learners in every subject under the sun using the best teaching method known to science, storytelling. To do this, we feature special guest educators who are passionately keen to empower your children. I am storyteller Chip Cahoon, and with me today is...
Hi, I'm Helen. I teach Year 1 and 2.
Hi, I'm Rob. I teach in a small village school in Buckinghamshire, and I teach in Key Stage 2.
And today we are seeing what art we can create with a folktale from China. You can listen to the story by downloading our sister podcast, Fables and Fairy Tales, or search our website, epictales.co.uk, for Big Man Drum. There you'll find a video of me telling the story that you can share with your children. And if you're an Epic educator, as of 30th of September 2022, you'll also get the story as a paperback gloriously illustrated by Winnie the Witch's very own Corky Paw. Don't worry if you missed that though, as you can order the book from any bookshop, including Amazon, and Epic educators can access the ebook and full audiobook through the Epic Tales app. Right now, though, let's continue our discussion with Helen and Rob and see what art we are going to create with the help of Nai-Chin and the gorillas. We've already made a bit, actually, with the nice big jewel that you were having us create in science, Helen, haven't we? Would you see that as an art project as well?
Definitely. There's always so many cross-curricular links with story learning, I find, so that would definitely be an art activity as well. Looking at the different materials you could use, comparing them. You could do some lovely collage as well of different materials to create a jewel of the shiniest materials you can find. Sorting the various materials by their colour, so find all the different blue materials, all different shades of blue, or all the different shades of green. So yes, you can definitely create some lovely... You can either do 3D jewels or 2D sort of collage pictures of
collages of jewels, yeah.
Yes.
To make your sapphires and your emeralds by cutting up little bits of blue foil, etc.
So you can fill your classroom with treasure, like a magpie. So yeah, that would be one link we could definitely make with art. The other idea I kind of thought, if the gorillas were decorating their drum, but they didn't have jewels, how would they decorate it? So this, I thought, could lead into some printing using body parts. So handprints and footprints, which I've done with classes before. On the Key Stage 1 curriculum, there's an objective around printing. And printing comes in all different varieties, but it is a lot of fun doing printing with hands and feet. So I thought you could perhaps start by just exploring that. I'd recommend doing this outside on a warm day rather than in your classroom. I did it in my classroom at the time, which I slightly regretted. But yeah, get children just to play, or have huge pieces of paper, just get them to play with handprints and footprints. There is a health and safety warning. It can get slippery, so you do have to be careful. Not have too many children at once. Have a bowl of water on standby and towels. It's fine. And the children love doing that and exploring what effects they can get from their footprints and their handprints. What happens if they put their feet or their hands in different colours? What if they put them in red and then blue and then make a print? It's a good way to look at mixing colours as well.
Yeah.
Then once you've done all the exploration of printing with hands and feet, the children can actually use their skills to maybe design a drum using hand and maybe just hand prints for that. But either way, they could design a pattern. So you could do some repeated colours, you could do some repeated hands and feet. So look at pattern making as well, because when you look at beautiful drums, African drums, they've got lovely patterns on. So the children could create their own patterns, thinking about the colours and what prints they're using.
Yeah.
On a smaller scale, you can use fingerprints.
I mean, yeah, you say African drums there, but of course, again, this story has
yes, it is
Chinese links, and I think you could explore the different forms of printing that they have there, because I think they use stencils a lot in Chinese art, don't they?
Yes, that's true. I keep referring to African drumming because I think of the gorillas living in Africa these days. But yes, you can look at the patterns in Chinese art and have a go at replicating them as well.
But it means that you've got lots of scope there for both ideas. I suppose there needs to be another health and safety warning, though, because in the story, it's a man that they are decorating. They think he's a drum, but he is an actual man. And if you're trying to decorate an actual person with footprints, there are maybe some health and safety risks there.
Things not to do in your class.
Yeah.
But then again, as we often talk about, having activities that involve a large cutout of a person. So you could draw around a person.
Yeah.
And then they could actually pretend to be those gorillas.
Do you know, I'd love to see about maybe doing this with a puppet gorilla or a toy gorilla, because the footprints for a gorilla are not too dissimilar from their handprints.
No, they're not actually.
And that could be an interesting thing to explore with your young learner. That would link it back to the science again, wouldn't it?
Yeah, looking at their features. Just from what we were saying about using a cutout of a person, actually then that could be a whole other lesson. Instead of decorating a drum, they can actually decorate the person. You know, decorate the outline, think about the patterns, and work in teams to see who can make the most attractively decorated Nai-Chin.
Yeah, and make him look like an actual drum, perhaps.
So yeah, some fun with printing this week.
What's going to be the artistic fun for ages 7 to 11, though, Rob?
I came up with a couple of ideas. Different layers of a jungle. We kind of alluded to these on the previous podcast, but as we know, jungles and rainforests have different layers, canopies, etc., etc. And thinking about how, if you said to your class, what colour is a rainforest? I'd imagine the majority of them would say green.
Yes.
But thinking about it more carefully and the different shades of greens that you might find, additional splashes of colour you might find from other animals or flowers. So really having a look at kind of almost quality controlling your art and making sure you've got the lighter colours nearer the top.
Yeah.
And the descriptions that we've got of the forest are great, and they provide us with some wonderful written examples that you could use as a basis for your artwork, rather than just draw a forest and you get a forest of Christmas trees. Or. And the second idea I had is more kind of to have a go at recreating the village that the gorillas have made in the treetops.
Oh.
Like matchstick models. So have a go at creating a miniature village and then see if you can put it into a tree, if you have trees near you, or onto a platform of some kind.
Yeah.
So that would be thinking more, again, looking at pictures of what it could look like. So designing it first and then having a go at recreating that in its actual form. So it's almost DT, but not quite.
Yeah, well, there's often a lot of overlap between art and DT, isn't there?
Yeah,
and when it comes to modelling, certainly that's the case. I mean, in a way, art is just a more impressive looking DT sometimes, isn't it? You can have just your standard rope bridge going across a ravine, or you can construct something with towers and cables.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. Those are the two things. They're kind of looking at the composition of the shades of different colours that you had, and then making some models out of appropriate materials.
Any which way, you're going to end up with some really colourful classrooms. And shiny classrooms.
Colourful and shiny. What more could you want?
That's all we have time for in this episode, folks. If you'd like to talk to us about anything you've heard in this podcast, or if there's a subject you are soon to teach that you'd like us to cover, you can find us on social media using @TeachHappily, or leave us a review using your favourite podcast app. Please also share this podcast with your colleagues and help us start a story-led revolution in classrooms around the world, so children everywhere can learn in a way that's effective, memorable and enjoyable all at the same time. Tomorrow, Nai-Chin and the gorillas will help us plan lessons in design and technology. But right now, it only remains for us to say cheerio, and we hope to hear your story soon. So, cheerio! And we hope to hear your story soon.